Lookman isn't travelling, Barrios is confirmed out, and Julian Alvarez, the most important attacking player at Atletico Madrid right now, spent Saturday sitting on the bench in a suit, watching his team scrape a 3-2 win over Athletic Club. 3 players, 1 semi-final, 48 hours, and I genuinely don't know if Diego Simeone has answers. Now look, I want to be careful here, because the easy take is obvious. The easy take is, Arsenal fans, relax. Atleti are broken. This is done. Book the final, job sorted. And I understand why people are going there, I really do. But I've watched too much football to believe it's that simple. A desperate Atletico Madrid under Simeone is not the same thing as a weak Atletico Madrid. And before we start celebrating a final we haven't reached yet, I think we need to sit with this properly. We need to understand what's actually happening in Madrid right now, because some of this is brilliant news for Arsenal, and some of it is genuinely concerning in a way I don't think people are talking about. So let's go through it, all of us. By the way, I'm Amelia. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we do deep football analysis, not highlights, not hot takes, actual thinking. So if that's your thing, subscribe and come back every week. And while you're down there in the comments, I want to know one thing from you. Do you think Arsenal should actually be worried about a wounded, desperate Atletico? Or is this the perfect scenario? Tell me, because I have a feeling this comment section is going to be split. Right, let's start with the problem, the actual problem, not the headlines, the reality of what's happening to Atletico's squad. Pablo Barrios is out, confirmed. He picked up an injury in Saturday's win and he will not feature on Wednesday. Now, I want you to understand what Barrios does in this Atletico team, because I think he gets slightly overlooked in the English coverage. He is not a glamorous player. He doesn't score headers in Champions League finals. He doesn't get transfer links to Barcelona. But he is the heartbeat of this Atletico midfield. He's the one who makes the press work. He's the one who sets the tempo in the first 20 minutes when Simeone wants to suffocate a team. He protects the backline. He wins second balls. He keeps Koke functional. Without Barrios, and I mean this Atletico's midfield doesn't operate at the same level. It just doesn't. And that matters enormously against Arsenal. Because here's the thing about how Arteta wants to play this game. Arsenal's build-up is designed to invite pressure and then escape it. Martin Odegaard dropping deep, Rice dictating from 8, the fullbacks inverting to overload central zones. The whole system is built to make a pressing team chase shadows and then punish them when they're stretched. But for that to work, the press has to come. Arsenal need Atletico to engage. And Barrios was going to be one of the main triggers for that press. Without him, there's a real question. Does Atletico's press even get off the ground? That's point 1, and it feels huge already. But then there's Lookman, and this one genuinely worries me. Not for Arsenal, for Atletico. Ademola Lookman hasn't played since the Copa del Rey final. That was weeks ago now. He didn't travel for Saturday's game. And while there's cautious optimism, and that phrase is doing a lot of heavy lifting right now, there's no guarantee he features on Wednesday. And this is where I need you to think about something. Atletico Madrid, in their best moments this season, have been a team that could absorb pressure and then explode. One moment, one transition, one player making something from nothing on the right side of the pitch. And that player, more than anyone else, was Lookman. He is the one player in the Atletico squad who can genuinely beat Arsenal's defensive line in a 1-versus-1 situation. He's fast, he's unpredictable, he's direct. He's the kind of winger that even when you're controlling a game, even when you're winning, you always have one eye on, because he can do something out of nothing. Without him, I look at Atletico's attack and I genuinely struggle to identify the threat. I'm serious. Who beats Ben White one-on-one? Who stretches Timber? Who makes Arsenal's defensive shape uncomfortable? Because if the answer is nobody, then this isn't just a tactical loss. It's an identity loss. And Simeone will have to completely rethink how he approaches 90 minutes at the Emirates. So that's two. Two confirmed or near-confirmed absences that fundamentally change what Atletico can do going forward. And then there's Alvarez. Now, let's slow down here, because this is the real story. Julian Alvarez has not started a league game in 4 weeks. 4 weeks he's been nursing a thigh issue. A thigh issue, by the way, that nobody at Atletico is being entirely straight about. Some reports are saying he'll be fine to start. Others are saying he's touch and go. And that contradiction alone tells you something. When clubs start managing narratives around fitness, it's usually because the truth is somewhere in the middle, and nobody wants to commit to it. He was an unused substitute on Saturday. He came back to the squad, which is positive, but he didn't get on the pitch. In a 3-2 game, with Atletico scrapping for a result, Simeone left his most creative forward on the bench. Think about that. What does that tell you about where his confidence in Alvarez's physical readiness actually is? And here's the thing. Here's why this matters so much more than just one player might miss the game. Alvarez is not a luxury player at Atletico. He's not someone who adds flair when things are going well. He is the connective tissue between the midfield and the attack. He drops deep. He links play. He presses from the front. He arrives late into the box. He does the dirty work and the creative work. He's the player that makes everything else function. When he's not there, and we've seen this in the 4 league games he's missed, Atletico don't just lose a goal threat, they lose coherence. The whole team looks slightly disconnected, like a machine that's missing a part it didn't know was so important until it was gone. So now I want you to picture this. Picture Simeone on Tuesday night, sitting in his office, and he has to make a decision. Does he start Alvarez? If he does, he's gambling. He's putting a player with a thigh problem into a high-intensity Champions League semi-final at the Emirates. And if Alvarez breaks down in the first half, and thigh injuries under that kind of physical stress absolutely can break down, then Atletico are finished. They're not coming back from that. You lose your best player to injury in the 45th minute of a semi-final away from home against an Arsenal team with momentum, that's the tie, done. But if Simeone doesn't start him, if he leaves Alvarez on the bench or out of the squad entirely, then what is his plan? What is the actual plan? Because without Lookman, without Barrios, without a fit Alvarez in the starting 11, I look at that Atletico team and I see a team built entirely to not lose, not built to win, built to survive, and survive long enough to maybe pinch something from a set piece or a moment of individual quality. That's not nothing. Simeone has won with less. I'll come back to that. But let's stay here for a second, because there's one more injury update that I don't think is getting enough attention. Jose Maria Gimenez, Atleti's defensive leader, their most experienced centre-back, racing to be fit. But even if he makes it, the article is telling us it's not guaranteed he starts. Now, that might just be Atletico managing expectations. It might be Simeone leaving tactical options open. But it might also mean that even in defence, even in the area where Simeone is always supposed to be strongest, there are cracks. And you pair that with David Hanco still rebuilding his fitness after returning to light training only last Friday, you're looking at a central defensive pairing that might not have Gimenez in it, might not have the depth behind it, and is going into a game against one of the most organised pressing attacks in Europe. This is not a small problem. This is a structural problem. But here's the thing, and I said I'd come back to this. I need to be honest with you, because I think some Arsenal fans are about to make a mistake. And the mistake is thinking that an Atletico Madrid in this kind of crisis is automatically easier to beat. Let me explain what I mean. Simeone's greatest weapon, greater than any individual player, greater than any tactical system, is his ability to make his team believe in suffering, in grinding, in winning ugly when everything is against them. This is the manager who took Atletico to 2 Champions League finals, who knocked out Barcelona at the Camp Nou, who beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, who time and time again has looked at a deficit, whether it was personnel, form, money, whatever, and built a wall that nobody could get through. And here's the uncomfortable truth. A wounded Atletico, focused entirely on not losing, organized into a deep defensive block, sitting in 2 compact lines and making Arsenal break them down. That is actually one of the most difficult tactical problems Arteta has faced all season, because Arsenal are brilliant at exploiting space. They are brilliant in transition. They are brilliant against teams that press and leave gaps. But against a team that gives them nothing, against a team that defends their box with their lives, clears every cross, blocks every shot, and waits for one moment, that's harder. That's a different test, entirely. And this is where Havertz becomes so important for Arsenal. Because Kai Havertz, before he went off injured on Saturday, is one of the few Arsenal players who can function in a low-block game. He wins headers. He holds the ball up. He creates space for runners. He's the pivot that allows Saka, Martinelli, Trossard to move and find pockets. Without him, or with a diminished version of him, Arsenal's ability to break down a parked Atletico Madrid drops significantly. Now, the club says they're making checks, that it might be precautionary, and Eze, who also came off, confirmed his was precautionary. But we don't actually know with Havertz, and that uncertainty in a week where Atletico are already dealing with their own uncertainty means this isn't a one-sided injury story. It's a two-sided one, and I think that matters. So, where does this actually leave us? Let me tell you what I think, and this is a genuine opinion, earned from going through all of this. I think Atletico Madrid are in real trouble. I think the absence of Lookman and Barrios alone would have been a major blow. Adding Alvarez's fitness question and the truth that Simeone probably won't risk him from the start, no matter what anyone says publicly, creates a team that goes to the Emirates without a credible way to win the game. They can survive, they can make it difficult, but win? I genuinely don't see the mechanism. And here's my bold take. Here's the thing I want you to really think about. The danger isn't that Atletico beat Arsenal. The danger is that Arsenal think this is easy. The danger is complacency. The danger is Arteta's team going into the Emirates thinking the hard work is already done by the injury list and not bringing the intensity that has made them so dangerous this season. Because the moment Arsenal drop off, the moment the press isn't sharp, the transitions aren't quick, the concentration wavers, Simeone will take that. He will take one chance. And if that chance goes in, suddenly you're chasing a game against a team with absolutely nothing to lose and a manager who has made a career out of holding leads. That's the scenario that should keep Arsenal fans awake. Not Alvarez starting and running riot, but a slow, disciplined, miserable Atleti, defending a goal they probably shouldn't have scored for 80 minutes, making Arsenal's life completely impossible. That's the real risk, and I don't think enough people are talking about it. So what do I want from Arsenal on Wednesday? I want them to be fast. I want the intensity from minute 1. I want Saka at his relentless best, working that left side, because without Lookman, Atleti's right defensive side is weaker than usual. I want Rice to dominate that midfield space that Barrios would have filled, because that space is now there for the taking. I want Odegaard finding pockets between the lines early before Atleti can get set. And if Havertz is fit, even 70% fit, I want him starting. Because against a low block, you need his physicality. You need his ability to hold and link. Without him, Arsenal become too horizontal, too reliant on wide play, and Simeone will organize his team to take that away. The blueprint is there, the opportunity is real, but Arsenal still have to execute, and they haven't always done that this season, in the biggest moments. That's the question I'll leave you with. because this is bigger than one game now. This isn't just about Wednesday. This is about what kind of team Arsenal are. This is about whether Arteta's project, the one that's been building for 4 years, the one that's been so close and then fallen away, can finally deliver a European final. The draw has opened up. The opposition is wounded. The moment is there. But moments don't mean anything if you don't take them. Arsenal have a chance to do something this week that this generation of players hasn't done before. And I genuinely believe this squad is ready. I believe Arteta has built something capable of it. But it won't come because Atleti are missing players. It'll come because Arsenal are better. And they have to go out there and prove that. So final question, and I want real answers in the comments. Do you trust this Arsenal team to take the moment? When it's there, when the door is open, when all the circumstances are right, do you believe they walk through it? Drop your score prediction below. I want to see what the community thinks. And if you want the full tactical breakdown of how Arsenal should line up on Wednesday, I'm doing that video next. It's going up before the game, so make sure you're subscribed and you've got the bell on because you don't want to miss it. See you then.